Alrighty, just over here at the place I'm looking after. I was doing a bit of electronic stuff the other day. I think it was just that little solar rig that came out of the cardboard house that I rewired up to the 40-watt panel. But yeah, I left my soldering iron behind and trusty multimeter. This is a pretty high-end one back in the day in 1998 when I bought it. It's got the little stand and everything. And I come across this as I was cleaning up my house. And I remembered I had the top cover of it in the centre console of my car, and believe it or not, it's still sitting in there. What happened is I bought this thing, and it's a little shaver just for, trimming your winter beard or whatever. And I thought, yeah, I might get one of those because it was only $10. I thought, holy smoke, that's cheap. Got it home, plugged it in, went to turn it on. The first thing that happens is the insides of the switch just collapsed. And I never even got to see it switch on. So anyway, here I was thinking, well, we've got to get this worked out. So I'll just solder between the two of them, except I've taken half my tools back home again. So there's a couple little tricks you can do. You can improvise. And fortunately, the house owner left a screwdriver here. And, well, now a steak knife. So you can had these your black shrink wrap over the contacts there on the switch. Amazingly, that actually soldered the wires on. Usually they only crimp this sort of stuff, which is pretty remarkable to see. So I cut that off with a steak knife, and then there's another old trick. Yeah, nail clippers. If you sink in a certain depth and you can hold that thing at a set level, you can actually crimp north-south, east-west, like, side to side, above and below, and then you just slide your wire off, and you perfectly strip pieces of wire, which is that piece, blue piece there. Now, you may say, oh, that's going to wreck them. Well, fingernails are supposed to be made of the same sort of stuff as what hair is made out of. The hairs on your face, if you're a man, particularly your moustache and all that, is as strong as copper wire of the same thickness. And believe me, if I get a blunt razor and I go to shave my moustache, I just about tear the flaming skin off me face, because the blunt razor just physically will not go through the hair on my moustache. Now, if that's the case, that means that your fingernails are probably as strong as copper too. And therefore these ain't too bad at trimming copper wire. Don't worry, the power's off. Yeah, okay. Give us a second. Bingo. Snipped off. Let's see if we can get it to snip again here. Not a problem. Straight through. Turns out the design of this, if you're a smart little cookie, you'll see what I've done here and what they're trying to do. There's your AC coming in. One side of your AC is on a switch, and you turn that on, and then it's basically your two wires come up through here and go through this coil here, and this is all a series of eddy plates screwed together. This is a series of eddy plates riveted together, attached directly through to your top piece, or your bottom piece is screwed solid. So what I've basically done is just bypass the switch, and then you can just flick it onto the power point and just watch while the thing doesn't do jack shit. What it basically does, if I stretch that across, it'll pull it in line and then it just vibrates. But it isn't, it's a great design idea, but all this is so probably badly built. Might be to do a little bit with lack of oil, but just they've got to move 50 times a second, and all this whole mechanism is too shitty, and these springs probably in here ain't probably good enough for it to actually move properly 50 times a second and actually work. So what it does is it vibrates, but the little pieces there ain't going to actually go across each other between the top ones and the bottom ones to actually, you know, do their job and clip the hair as they cross over each other, because they don't, because 50 hertz AC is too fast to really do anything on this clogged up piece of badly made Chinese shit. But basically it's a good design concept, except yeah, it just ain't going to happen. If you had control of an AC 240 volt generator and could keep it at 240 volts, or get a 415 volt one, and anyway, if you could basically lower the AC hertz, you might be able to make it happen. But like many Chinese things, including the vacuum cleaner, it doesn't really happen. A HEPA filter, so I found out the other day watching a documentary, is what they're supposed to use in clean rooms when they build chips, as in Intel processors and stuff like that. And HEPA filters are supposed to clear all the shit out of the air for these clean rooms, and yet this HEPA filter in that vacuum cleaner couldn't even keep fluff from getting through. But anyway, this is the way it is with everything made in China, and with the devaluation in the yuan, we're probably going to continue to see more Chinese shit in the future that costs you not much but doesn't work like this thing. If you ever wonder how those transformers are assembled, that's pretty much it right there. You take the screws out and that's what happens. Something to do with these eddy currents made between each individual plate, which is why they have so many plates. Some of the older ones wouldn't just fall apart so easily like this. They sort of had a bit of a varnish insulation style outer coating, like the copper wires and the deflection coils on the back of the TVs, and you sort of had to give them a little bit of a tap with a hammer, and then they'd sort of, some of them were actually had that stuff between each plate, so they're more or less stuck together, but you could sort of fiddle around and give them a bit of a thump with a hammer and they'd all separate eventually. But this one come out surprisingly easy, very easy. Ignore the dishwasher going on back there.